Well, let's talk now to Simon Boxall, who's a senior lecturer in oceanography at the University of Southampton in the UK. Welcome back to the programme, Simon. Good to see you. So, I mean, this isn't a possibility that really anybody wants to think about, but are we now at the point where there is very little hope for those on board this missing submarine?
I think the hope's been fairly slim since day one, but I think, the whole business about there are 96 hours of oxygen left on board, it's a very vague calculation, is that. So I think, I think it's likely they will still treat this as a search and rescue operation, certainly for the next 24 hours, because that's a sort of, I suppose, uncertainty in the amount of oxygen and the rate at which it's being used up. Beyond that, I think it does become less hopeful. And as has been said, there is this chance that actually on day one, the whole thing imploded. And we're looking now not for a submersible, but for wreckage. So I think, it's likely that the Coast Guard from both US and Canada will talk about continuing this for another, maybe a couple of days. Beyond that, it becomes a recovery exercise, and at that stage, everything steps down because recovery is not urgent. The rescue is urgent, but once it gets to recovery, it's a question of then deciding how that should go forward. And perhaps we shouldn't be throwing quite so many resources to recovery compared to rescue.
And a part of this search is being conducted at enormous depth, isn't it? What about the conditions that make it such a challenging operation?
Well, you're 4 kilometres away, so you can imagine operating on something. Imagine trying to repair a car or find something that's 4 kilometres away. And you're looking at an area the size, as you said, of Belgium. And you're sort of the techniques we use. We can't use optics. We can't see the things on the seabed from above. We can't use radar. We can't use radio communications, infrared. We're stuck with sonar. And that's a bit like painting a sort of a road bridge across a huge estuary with a small child's paintbrush. It takes a long time to build up a picture of the seabed and to actually locate where this thing might be. Or another way of putting it, you're in the dark in Belgium with a blindfold and you're going around trying to feel your way around to see if you can bump into it. It's a chance in a million they find it, and time is ticking. It's still going to take, even if they find it, and even if it goes as planned perfectly, it's still going to take 6 hours from finding it to get it to the surface. And that's under ideal conditions. They haven't found it yet. Will they find it? Highly unlikely.
Should people be making dives of this type to see the wreck of the Titanic, given that it's a clearly very dangerous thing to do? No.
It's simply no. There's no point. It has no purpose. It's tourism. It's nothing to do with research. If we want to research things, we use remotely operated vehicles. They're safer, they're better, they're less expensive. They can do more than this particular submersible can do. So there is no benefit in terms of research. There's no benefit in terms of understanding what went on. It's purely tourism.
Simon, good to get your thoughts today. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That's Simon Boxall from the University of Southampton.